Welcome to the Hot Take Gaming Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, where sometimes we have hot takes about gaming, but mostly we're talking about current events and different things going on within the gaming industry. As always, since this is the third time we've run with this, we got Funky HQ with us.
I'm back, baby.
He is back. He's basically just the official co-host to this point of the podcast. And we fucking love it, baby. So, we got a lot of really spicy things. It actually, I wouldn't say it's like a hot take because I think most people are going to be on the side of what the main thing we're talking about is today.
On the side of the gamers.
Yeah, on the side of the gamers. But we do have some spicy things to talk about. And I already know there's some of you that won't agree. But, well, I mean, they're going to be, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But before we get into the spiciness, Heath, what you been playing? Anything different from last week?
Dude, I didn't even touch Fallout 4 this week. I was like Stardew Valley constantly.
So the new update. How's the new update for it?
Oh, it's so good. I'm starting to finally get into like the later games, so like I'm starting to see this stuff. Because this update, it wasn't like we're gonna add a bunch of stuff to the later game for those people. It was like, let's sprinkle a bunch of stuff all over the game, and I've been experiencing it all over. And it's if you haven't played it in a while, it's a really good time to play.
That's what I was just about to ask. So say I started up on my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably wouldn't notice the difference, right? Because I haven't played like the base game. But say I have played it. I'm starting a new save file.
You would notice.
There would be new stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is cool because then, like, if you're buying it fresh or you see something cool you like about the update, you don't have to wait until like the end game to experience it.
But that's what I love about Stardew is that it's just real chill.
Yeah.
And all of these little tiny little things that they've added, like it's just nice.
Yeah.
It's just like nice like quality of life things or like new items or it's just a good time.
Yeah.
I could talk forever about Stardew, and like I think I'm at like just about 300 hours into the game at this point.
That.
So, like,
do you primarily play it on your Steam Deck then?
I have been recently.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the perfect game for it, honestly.
And I think it's one of the best ways to play the game right now because consoles are still waiting for the update.
Yeah, they don't have the update. What do you think that's about?
I just know that Eric Brown's one dude. So like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that actually makes a ton of sense.
He's just big chilling.
That makes a ton of sense.
He's working on it. I know that.
Yeah, and each like store has their own like protocols for stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just different hoops you have to jump through. So, still grinding New Vegas. I have like, and I'm sure a lot of people will relate to this. I have like 8 games going at once right now. 8 different games I'm playing.
I would struggle with that.
And I think it's like legit. I'm kind of over exaggerating. It's probably like 4 that I'm actually playing, but it's very overwhelming because just with work and a kid, it's like this week I'm like totally obsessed with New Vegas. I'm just going to grind New Vegas. And then I'll get, halfway through or however far through and then be like, it's like the meme. I don't want to play with you anymore. Like throwing in the, and then I'll pick up the other game that I'm halfway through that I abandoned 2 weeks ago, grind that for like a week.
Persona?
Yeah. So I'm all over the place. Yeah. So Persona 3, I was grinding Persona 3 Reload on the Steam Deck. Great game. If you've never played the Persona games, 3 is actually a really, really great place to start. Because, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm 60 hours into it, it is the shortest one.
Is it?
Yeah, it is the shortest one, at least the Reload version. I don't know. I never played the OG version, so maybe, I don't think they're that much different, but in terms of like story and stuff. But yeah, I'm like 60 hours into that, and I've had to take a break because I'm just like, I'm waifu'd out, I'm stalled out. It's not even like really a gacha game, but waifu'd out. But it's a great game for the Steam Deck, so you can just pick up and play or whatever. It's not super like graphically demanding, so you get a ton of battery life with it too. But so yeah, I've been kind of diving into New Vegas this past week. I'm kind of trying to get back over to Stellar Blade because I think I'm really gonna like Stellar Blade. But I mean, I've only played like 3 hours of Stellar Blade, so I can't even really speak to how great of a game it is.
Playing it on Portal, or are you doing
playing it on? I even have it here with me today. The Portal, the awkward, Portal. Not a PlayStation Vita. Everybody hates this, and everybody does hate this too. Anytime I make content on this device here, everybody is like, why did you buy that? You're an idiot. And I'm like, all right, guys, yeah, I know.
Are you rage baiting right now?
Oh yeah, 100%. I completely agree with most of the criticism for it. I say that all the time. It's the most convenient device that I don't need. That's what I always like kind of say, like
that's fair.
Could have used the Steam Deck for it, but it plays PlayStation games really well. And like I said, I don't know if this is how it works or if this is it, but I noticed remote play works remarkably better on this than other devices that I've tested it on. That includes my Logitech G Cloud. That includes my phone. The Steam Deck, to be fair, I've only like streamed games to it like once or twice. But
it's really good for that too.
Yeah, I have like the is it Chiaki?
Chiaki.
Yeah, Chiaki 4 deck. The new version, and that was running it pretty well, but I was running into some stuttering. And I don't have the greatest Wi-Fi, but like I have like no stuttering on that. And I'm like, I think that's a Sony thing. My tinfoil hat on. I think that's a Sony thing where like their device, you know what I mean? Like their streaming device works better. But
right. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just full shit.
And at least for me, like sometimes when I was playing Red Dead, I would stream Red Dead from my PC to my Steam Deck because it was just battery life wise, it made a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
Fidelity wise, because running Red Dead 2 natively on the Steam Deck is like okay.
Yeah.
But it like kind of it doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
But then if you stream it from your PC, you're getting like full like ultra settings.
And Red Dead's one of those games where at least it's one of those games where like, and I'm usually not a snob about this, but I want it to look the best it can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's such a good looking game.
Yep.
And it's very immersive.
Right. And then you can't hate the like tiny amount of input lag a little bit.
Right, yeah.
It's just pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really done like Steam's version of remote play if they have a term for it. But
yeah. It's just Steam
Steam Link or something? Is it Steam Link?
Well, the Steam Link was a device. So
Was
I
it?
don't know if it's like I don't remember.
I've never tried it,
Just
but
streaming.
I know I was going to do it right before I bought my Steam Deck. I was like, maybe I should just start buying Steam games and using the G Cloud for it. But then I was like,
too, because you got Steam, whatever the what it's called, whatever it's called. I don't remember
the
what it's
launcher?
called. Yeah, no, like on the G Cloud, you could just stream games to your.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You just do that.
But I was like, yeah, I could do that where I could spend like $550 on this OLED, and I said, oh, buy it.
Oh, it's got an OLED,
and I don't regret it though. Honestly, since my Portal, and I don't mean to put down this device because it's just a streaming device.
The Portal is like kind of sick for what it is. It's just expensive.
It is, yeah, it is just expensive. And actually, I wasn't even going to put down the Portal, but for what it is, between the Portal and my Steam Deck, I will probably never touch my G Cloud again, if I'm being fully honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it has Game Pass on there, but
Yeah.
I'm like, we were kind of chatting on the last episode, I'm almost not
Kinda
going to
just don't even
subscribe
need
to
it
Game Pass.
anymore.
Yeah,
Just
like
kinda
I
wanna
just don't
get rid of it.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. I'll see what I do. I'm like hanging on to it just in case there's some game that comes to Game Pass that I'm like just really excited about, but I don't really see myself playing.
But that's what you do. You're like, I'm gonna hold on to it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep holding on to it.
just in case.
I'm gonna hold on to it. Then you spend $120 in a year or whatever it is to have this service that you don't.
And then you're like,
use.
well, I played 0 games.
I played 0 games this year. Anyway, yeah. So New Vegas, and that's
Yeah, pretty much
it
New
right now?
Vegas. Yeah, I've been grinding New Vegas. And just like last week, I'll say, obviously, like, I don't mean graphics-wise, but, like, story-wise, like, in terms of comparing it to the other Fallout games, it still ages incredibly well. And because I was just like, I kind of went into it thinking, I wonder if I'll think differently about this. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's been so long since I haven't played it since, like, I was in high school or freshman year of
lad.
college. Yeah. So it's been years and years. And I'm like, maybe I'll think about this differently now, you know? And no, I really don't. I think the game is super good.
Holds up.
Yeah, it holds up very well, especially because Fallout 4 is like the last one I played. And I'm not like a super Fallout 4 hater like a lot of people are, but I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the best Fallout in my opinion, for sure. Fashowskis. So do you want to, let's dive in, let's get into the first spicy kind of segment. So first spicy topic of the day. I'm going to kind of let Heath introduce this one because he's been reading up on it. Heath, tell us about what's going on with Helldivers 2.
What isn't going on with Helldivers 2 right now? PlayStation and Sony decided that they wanted to make PSN accounts mandatory for the game, which has caused a huge uproar within the Helldivers 2 community, and rightfully so, because PSN is not available in a lot of regions. Did you know that PSN is only available in 69 regions?
I actually had no clue about that.
69.
Which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
Really.
And if you are outside of those regions, basically with what they're saying, you're kind of screwed because you can't, within their TOS, within Sony's TOS, you cannot just fake like you're in another region.
Yeah, like VPN and there's something.
You can't do that. That's not cool. So, but from the most recent little bit of information that I've been looking at, it looks like that if you are in a region that it is not available, or PSN is not available to you, they will not make it mandatory, which is the best move that they can do.
Yeah.
It still stinks that they decided that, this thing is mandatory, and they've changed some of the verbiage.
Yeah.
In some of their terms,
And
which
kind of
is,
stealthily too, right?
and it was very subtle, but
Yeah.
people are like, "Hey, we see you, and we're gonna call you out on your bullshit because it's not cool to just like one day be like, hey, you gotta sign up for a PSN account now after hundreds of hours of playing in a game." And the potential spending money and the
Yeah.
potential for you to like just not be able to have access to the game anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty.
They're like,
nuts.
"Oh yeah, we're gonna change the stuff, and it's gonna be really good. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be able to help us, what is it? Ban cheaters and do all that stuff. Be able to have more control over the ecosystem. It doesn't matter. Like
it.
you're just silly. You're silly. Figure it out. Do something else.
It is silly, and I didn't even think about that aspect until I had just said it when you were listing off the regions. It like isn't great.
Yeah.
Think about somebody from those regions that's maybe spent like $80 to $100 extra on top of the game or more. Let's be real. There's probably somebody who spent way more than that.
Yeah.
But imagine spending, you bought the game for $40 or whatever it is. You spend like another $100 on the game to get like cosmetics and the passes and whatever. And then boom, you can't play anymore.
You can't play it anymore because
Which-
you don't live in you live in Egypt and you don't have PSN.
And it's just so they did change it a little bit, right? So you're saying now if you're in one of those regions, they kind of walked it back a little bit.
I don't know if it's been officially stated that that's what's going to happen, but I think that's where they're
move.
headed with it.
And it's just like the Tarkov stuff we talked about last week with the
Tarkov.
Unheard edition. But it actually really does remind me of that though, because the subtle changes in verbiage. You know what I mean? Because
I think they
Tarkov
can get away with it.
Yeah, and Tarkov is using that. And the thing is that's like crazy is it's like it's the internet. People, whatever you hear it all the time. When especially probably in schools they say this nowadays. Like whatever you put out there is out there.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you delete it, whether you could have like 2 followers on Twitter and somebody's one of those 2 followers screenshot it.
The rewind machine exists.
I'm
and it's
telling you,
real.
like, especially these big companies, though, like, you cannot simply just, like, hey, let's just go on this page and, like, change a couple words around and nobody will notice. People will notice. But it's crazy that they will probably walk it back, right? They will.
Yep. Well, they're going to walk it back to the extent that they're comfortable with.
Yes. Yeah. Like, meeting
still-
in the middle.
It's still Sony.
Yeah.
And they're still going to want to have control over their game or they published it. They published Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
They're going to want to have control over it however they want to, but if they've gotten enough backlash, it's mostly negative reviews at this point on Steam.
Yeah.
And I think what they're saying is if you are a PC player and you live in an area that PSN is not available to you, it won't be mandatory. Is kind of the thinking.
So it's like that's their way of meeting in the middle, basically. Like we're still implementing this, but this is just to shut the people up that are.
It's kind of stupid. Still.
And it is stupid because my thought immediately as soon as you say that, I go to like, why wasn't it that way in the first place?
Right. Well, I think
know?
initially, I don't even actually, when I signed up when I first started, because I know you play on PlayStation if you've played.
Yeah.
Helldivers.
Yep.
I play on PC, and I think if it was an option, it was like skippable. And for me,
To link accounts, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have PSN, so like I feel like if it was an option, I would have just done it like from the get go.
Yeah,
so
like
it's
why
like
not?
really? And to me, not a big issue,
Right.
Because I have a PSN account and I have access. I'm in the US. I have access to PSN.
Right.
So like to me, and I would imagine like a lot of other people on the internet, they were like, well, what's the big deal?
Oh yeah.
Just make a
That's
PSN account.
yeah.
And even some of the devs of talking in their Discord, they kind of lashed out and they were like, what's the big deal? Just make a PSN account. And then now they understand. They're totally like, the nice thing is that the devs are kind of on our side at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of trying to push back what Sony is doing. We'll see to what success. But they were like, why don't you just make a PSN account? And then people were like, because all of these reasons, because we just don't have access to it, because it seems like a ridiculous thing for you to have us do when it originally wasn't a mandatory thing. All those things are valid, I think.
100%.
But, I mean, it's just cool to see that the devs are like, yeah, downvote it. Yeah. Leave negative reviews. Yeah. I mean, the more you do that stuff, the more pull we have with Sony. So just do it. So
I think it's a bizarre move for Sony, because I think this is kind of trying to think of a way to word this, but like kind of like starting off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
Because Sony, I mean, they're not going to admit it, and I know there's probably going to be somebody that like disagrees that's a Sony fan or whatever, but Sony absolutely, even if they're not like all in, like pushing all their chips in like Microsoft, Sony is absolutely getting PC into their ecosystem.
Yeah,
that's a fact. I mean,
it's awesome.
It's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing.
Being able to play Horizon on PC.
Yeah, I mean,
Sick.
it is a very good thing, and really, just more people being able to play these games is good. You know, the days of like, I know there's some people out there that are like, you got to buy a play. You know, the old console warrior kind of style of like thought process. The majority, I would say the vast majority of people don't like subscribe to that ideology anymore, and it's more like, hey, the more people that can play this, the better. And we'll get into this a little bit in the next segment, but like the best example I could see of this is how many people on PlayStation are playing Sea of Thieves, which was just PC and Xbox for the long time.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little bit more in the next segment, but people just want to be able to play these games and see more people play these games. So Sony is, you know, it's typically been like a year out or 6 months after the game is launched on PlayStation, which is a fine model in my opinion. But they're bringing their games to PC, and it's Sony. Like, they treat their exclusives like top tier still. It's not like Xbox where they've kind of like cooled off. Like, you know, day one exclusives are still going to PC. They're not doing that. So like any kind of movement with their exclusives is a big deal with Sony, and they're bringing them to PC. So they're absolutely going to include, you know what I mean, PC in their ecosystem in the future. And I think, I don't think we'll get to the point where like day one PlayStation 5 exclusives are going to come to PC for a while, or maybe ever, But I think the window is going to get shorter than a year. And I think this is just really pissing off the PC gamers, So I think it's like starting on. They're not starting, 'cause it's not the first one ever, but it's leaving a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about Sony. Yeah. And Helldivers 2 is really a game that should not be controversial at all at this point.
No.
Like, people love Helldivers 2, so for the fact that it's getting review bombed in a negative way, it just shows you how much this like just pissed off the community.
I mean, I'm pissed.
Yeah,
it just doesn't seem like the thing. It doesn't seem like the cool guy move. But it's Sony, so
and they're kind of known for that.
Arrowhead. Well, I mean, Arrowhead is on. I mean, it was interesting to see kind of like the little bit of flip flop that happened.
Yeah,
but like they were like, blah, and then they were like, oh, actually, you guys are right, and we're on your side, and we want to help you figure this out. I mean, they get, like I said, they get more pull the more you make a fuss about it.
Right.
So,
and I could see, I'm not even really upset that I don't know about most, but some of their devs were like joined people in with like the it's not that big of a deal thought process, because if you got to think of it from like the human element of like, hey, especially they didn't have super high expectations for the game.
They did not. I mean, initially they were like, I mean, the reception of the first game was, I mean, it was good, but it was low.
It was kind of like a niche game, right?
Yeah.
So
I didn't even remember that it existed.
I know,
to be
me
honest.
neither.
And I think I got it from Humble Bundle or something, and I played it. I think I played like 30 minutes of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And when
that just shows, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then when Helldivers 2 came out, and I was like, I kind of want to play another game, but I also want to play Helldivers, but I want to play it on my Steam Deck, and I didn't want to play a shooter game that was top, like, third person, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll boot up Helldivers.
Yeah.
And I played it for like a couple minutes, and I was like, oh, this isn't what I wanted.
It's like, because isn't the
it's
first
a fine
one,
game?
The first one's top down and stuff too, right? It's pretty, it's a lot different. So here's the thing, like going into it with, low expectations, the first one was more of a niche game for people. Like, I had a small beloved community, but again, small. They go into this, they get this game launches with, great reception. Everybody loves it. The servers were having troubles, right, at first, because there were so many people playing it to what they thought were going to play it, from my understanding.
Oh, yeah.
So
it was way more.
So I get where they come from of, like, they're defensive or protective of their, like, project at first. And especially when you've received really no negative criticism.
Yeah.
I could see being like, we'll just make the account. It's really not that big of a deal, because that's kind of just human nature, right? Is to get defensive.
Yeah, just do it.
But it does mean a lot and I think this is a good example for other companies to kind of follow, to like eventually like not be that person to die on that hill. You know what I mean? Like they admit like, oh yeah, no, actually we see where you guys are coming from. Let's make this right, kind of a thing. Because I think a lot of companies would triple down on it, and then in the end they'd walk it back anyways. You know what I mean? So it's like that awkward, like, oh, we're sorry, kind of.
You kind of have to just take the L and listen to the community.
You do, yeah.
But it is Sony, so they're the bigger entity in the situation, and they can kind of implement whatever they want, whenever they want. And so hopefully maybe they change their mind about it. I mean, I don't think they're going to change their mind about it, but like I said, I think they're going to actually like just be like, if you live in these areas, it is not required.
And it's crazy that it just shows you, like, even if your game is loved by everybody, if you bring in some bullshit, people are going to find out quick. I mean,
and I initially, when I saw the news too, I was the same way. I was like, why did it just make
like, what's the deal?
Account?
Yeah.
Just do it. And then I tweeted it, I think yesterday, about like how, maybe it was today, I don't remember, about how like, yeah, if you live in a region, like you just don't have access to it.
Right.
And I totally get the frustrations of if you dumped 100 hours into the game and then the game was like, actually you can't play it anymore.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that
having it ripped from you like that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I just, especially when people are putting money into it, it feels like a free-to-play game. I mean, even free-to-play games you put money into, usually more than the pay-to-play games. But I don't know. It's just, especially, it's been out for several months now at this point, right? Wasn't it January or February?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so it's like you're pretty far into it to now.
They've broken their expectations by a lot, and they've like put out more content for it, like a bunch of different stuff. They've even raised the level cap to like 150 now or something like that. So it's like they're taking into account what people like. There's so many people playing this game, and they're like kind of defeated expectations.
Yeah.
How do we make this more like? How do we still make this game appealing to other people that are still like would be level 100 if they they were level 50? That's the thing. They actually like all of the XP and stuff. Like if you were level 50 before the raise the level cap raise, they actually took that into account. So like once they raised the level cap, people were like immediately like a level 77.
Yeah, they like 80, got the XP or whatever they would have got.
Yeah, because it just accounted.
That's a good system.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That's where like. And I know, like I said, at first they were on the other side, but they changed. That's when you kind of feel bad for the devs. Like, you're like, if it was up to them, it'd probably just, like, be fixed by now. Or, you know what I mean? Some kind of thing. It wouldn't take so long.
But they are also a small team, a smaller team. So, like, it's nice to be supported by big Sony, but then they're like, then there's implement this stupid thing that everybody's going to hate. And then Arrowhead's like, oh no, our game.
It's a big lesson in like the publishers. A lot of times I think people have more beef with the publisher than they realize than the devs. And the devs get all like the criticism, which sucks, especially if it's like a small team, you know. It sucks that happens to them, but it's kind of a good lesson for everybody.
Not
it's
the
like,
first time we've seen it.
Yeah. It's like, this is when like corporations can kind of ruin games and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. And it's even crazy, like, and I don't know, this is kind of a different angle with Helldivers too. And I don't know if any like Steam has picked up on this, but I heard Phil Spencer was in pretty good talks trying to get Helldivers 2. And I heard it was actually like Sony wasn't like shutting it down right away, which is kind of surprising.
That's kind of sick.
But I heard they were talking about bringing it to Xbox as well.
That'd be pretty sick.
And this is a prime example, like I was saying. I think people want to see more people playing the games they enjoy, especially multiplayer games, you know? So that would just bring a whole new, I mean, not a whole new community, but like it would just enlarge that community even more.
A whole new community. I mean, it's a whole group of people that don't have access to the game.
It is. And like a lot of people think like, oh, Xbox gamers are all on PC. That's not true. You know what I mean? It's definitely not true.
Not true.
I would be willing to bet there's more people that just have Xbox and not a PC element to it or use PC Game Pass than people realize. It's just like a lot of times you hear people on Twitter being vocal about like, oh, Xbox is being bad. Like, just get a PC. Why buy an Xbox? It's like the average Joe does not have $1,000 to $2,000 to buy a PC.
Right.
So like they could buy a $300 Xbox Series S And anybody could do that. You know what I mean? Nothing about it.
Or two. I mean, I've seen them on sale for like $250.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like to bring that game to those people. I doubt it'd be a Game Pass game because it's a Sony game, right? Or published by Sony.
But it's $40.
But still, yeah, it's $40. It's affordable. It would sell well on Xbox. Yeah. And that's, I mean, honestly, this is a great leeway right into the next segment of kind of just the ecosystem's changing. We got into a little bit of that with Sony, like, bringing games to PC earlier, and just being more accessible to PC players. So my big thing is, this leads right into Sony, why Sony should put it on Xbox, Helldivers 2 on Xbox. Because look at Xbox, how well those games are doing on the PSN store right now. Yeah. So I can't remember the exact, because this is a little bit, it's not old news, but it's like, it was really popping off about a week and a half ago. All right, we are back. I had Parker wanted to give his thoughts on the Helldiver 2 situation, and he was pissed about it.
Pissed.
My son was pissed.
Straight up pissed.
Let Sony know they pissed off a 4-month-old. Okay, he is outraged by it. But we were kind of talking about how Phil Spencer's been in talks about maybe chatting with them about bringing Helldivers 2 to Xbox, and how several people will actually really seem to be behind that. It's not like the old console warrior style with that game where they're like, no, only keep it on PlayStation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, though, it kind of segues into actually, wait, no, just kidding. Before we segue into this next section, Heath, as we were talking about that off camera, had such a good idea.
I know that this is probably no-brainer kind of situation. But if Helldivers 2 comes to the Xbox, maybe we can get an ODST skin.
Give it to us.
Maybe
right now.
That would be pretty sick. I know that PlayStation will not have that, but
make it. I mean, I know Fortnite brings everybody in, but they gave us Master Chief in Fortnite, and it was great.
And there are PlayStation characters too. There's God of War.
Yep, Kratos.
God of War, Mr. God of War. Kratos. I feel like there's other ones. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I feel like there's another gaming one too that I can't remember off the top of my head. But give us in Helldivers 2.
Give us ODST.
Give us ODST skins. It doesn't even have to be Master Chief. Just give us ODST skins.
How cool would it be if Master Chief was in the game?
It would be so fucking
That'd
sweet.
be sick.
And if they actually had some voice lines for him and stuff.
All right, Master Chief is also in Rainbow Six Siege.
Is he really? I did not know that.
He's a skin. He has a skin for Sledge.
So Master Chief is in Rainbow Six Siege.
He's all cheeked up in
Siege. I want to hear some. He's all cheeked up. It took me a second to process.
I just call him Master Cheeks now because of the whole TV show, and he was naked
banging aliens.
Ugh, weird.
If they brought Master Chief into Helldivers 2, though,
Sick.
I would need some voice lines from Mr. John Halo himself.
I would need a new pair of pants,
and I would need. I love the oof load. Oof. I would need him to say something about fighting for democracy. I would need a chief one-liner for democracy or something in there. But so a great point to kind of segue right to the next section of just people wanting to play games on any system and aren't beefing over no, you need to get a PlayStation for this game, which it sounds stupid even saying this, but there are people out there, trust me. Make any YouTube video about an Xbox or PlayStation and the other side will attack you. Okay?
Comment if you're one of those people.
Yes, if you are a fanboy still, let us know. So then I can mute your thread. No, I'm just kidding. But so as I was saying, a huge example that we're seeing with this is Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. Yeah. So Sea of Thieves was an Xbox. I think day one it was an Xbox console exclusive. Yeah. But nowadays it's been a PC with PC as well because of the Xbox ecosystem having PC Game Pass and all that. So it's been Xbox and PC. Well, about a month ago they brought Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and I believe one or two others. Pentiment was one of them. I might be forgetting. Microsoft games came to the PSN store, right? So Xbox brought over all these games to the PSN store. And about last week or so, I was reading the results of that, the first kind of quarter of that. And they said of the top 25 games on the PSN store, all 4 of those games that they brought over, or even more that I might be missing out, made it in the top 25. I don't think that's too surprising, right? Because it's new and they're new games. There are still a lot of new games coming out because it's just never ending these days. Oh, yeah. But they're new, exciting games, right? But I think Sea of Thieves specifically really stood out to me because I think that was the top one. Either that or Grounded. They're pretty close. But the top one on PlayStation for that month. And that's just such a good example of like people don't give a shit anymore about like the console wars kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like bring your games to every system. It's a no-brainer, especially as the publisher too. You're gonna bring in money from that, right? I mean, so why? If you're Sony, okay, Xbox or Microsoft just made a killing on our PSN store, and they get a cut too, right? Because it's on the PSN store. But it's like they made good money, and it's kind of a no-brainer for Microsoft because they spent all that money acquiring Activision, right? So to have these games be published anywhere to make money makes sense. Sony clearly loves money. I mean, they're a big corporation. All of them love money. Why not bring Helldivers 2 to the Xbox? But it's pretty crazy to think that, Xbox games are on the PSN store. And I was laughing because I saw a big response to this, too, of like, oh, when you play Microsoft games on PlayStation, they have you link your Microsoft account. And it's like, yeah, but it's always been that. It's always been that way. It wasn't a switcheroo. It's kind of a different situation. But that is one of those, like, if they changed it, then it makes sense. But I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy that Xbox games are on the PlayStation Store, and I think that's just a step, a peek into the future.
Yeah.
That, like, you always hear, like, consoles are becoming PCs. It's not even really that. It's just, like, everything is everywhere now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you have to buy this system for this game, for the most part, in most cases, right?
I think I might have a little bit of a hot take.
I'm ready.
I think the only reason we talk about Sea of Thieves at all is because it's an Xbox exclusive, and that's like one of the only things that they got going for them.
You are not wrong. I would back you on that hot take.
Maybe I'm not the demographic.
Yeah.
Maybe I've wanted to try the game, don't have the people that want to try it with me.
Yeah.
And then I just don't care. I don't know if I care.
No, I'm totally with you. So I bought Sea of Thieves at launch. At launch, it was a completely different game from my understanding. It's almost like Fallout 76, but not in the fact that it was like broken.
Right.
But in the fact that there was like no content to it. Like you're like, oh, here we are sailing again to find treasure and bring it back to this NPC. Like
it's just the same game loop. I mean, that's how some games are.
Well, but here's the thing though, that loop, to me at least, wasn't it wasn't very fun,
wasn't compelling
or
enough.
Wasn't satisfying. There just wasn't enough to it to make me be like, yeah, I want to continue doing this loop over and over and over again.
Right.
And like I think now I haven't played like present day Sea of Thieves, so now I think there's a lot of things have changed with it, but there wasn't like a lot of combat. I mean, there was some, but it wasn't like enough. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The loop never satisfied me. So you've never played Sea of Thieves in your experience, right?
No, I've never played Sea of Thieves. It just doesn't like. I don't have the friends to play with. That's not. That's not what
Sauce.
I mean. That's not what I mean. None of my friends have ever expressed interest in playing the game. I'm like, hey, I want to play that game. And they're like, I don't care.
Right. I get the lack of content at launch was the issue, and I totally understand. Like now, it's a better game. There's just nothing there that makes me want to play it. Where I look at it and I'm like, yeah, Sea of Thieves looks like a great game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually agree with you. I think it's one of the, in terms of like longevity, I think it's one of the only Xbox exclusives they've like really pumped out lately and supported like that.
Why do we care?
So yeah, so it's like they're just like forcing people to care. But it's like it sold really well on PlayStation, so it's confusing. Like,
well, it's because they didn't have it.
Yeah, so there's the initial excitement of like, hey, we didn't have this game. Like, let's fucking buy it and I'll play it. And like the thing is, it has like really funny clips. Like I've seen some hilarious.
I have
clips
too.
Of it, like the ship combat and like seeing like the giant squid or whatever they call it, the Kraken. I've seen a lot of stuff about that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it looks funny, but I've never like watched one of those clips and I'm like, yeah, I want to play that.
It makes me want to play, and this might be a good thing to play on the Steam Deck too. It makes me want to play the Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah. So here, okay, actually, while we're on the pirate game trend, have you? I never even watched the reviews for this game. But speaking of games where I'm like, why do I care? What the hell is this? This just seems like a Black Flag ripoff. Skull and Bones.
Yeah, I didn't care.
Do you remember what they said about Skull and Bones when they were first talking about the game coming out?
I think they were like, it's not Black Flag.
They did actually say some stuff like that because it's Ubisoft, right? I think that put it out.
Well, they spent like 10 years making the game or something like that.
10 years making Skull and Bones. 10 years, and I can't remember if it's like a publication or if just the community was coming at them, but they're basically like, "Where's this game? Like, does it exist still?" And they were like, "Yes." This game is being made, and why we have spent so much time on this game is it's going to be quadruple A game. Like, it's not a triple A game. It's quadruple A game. And now you look at look at Skull and Bones today and you're like, what is this dog shit?
Yeah.
That quadruple A game is already $35 and it came out like
Quadruple A.
2 months ago. Like,
Yeah, nobody's talking about it now.
I haven't even seen anybody really talk about it.
But that's kind of Ubisoft's like
It is.
thing right now, and the whole controversy with the Star Wars game and how you had to like pay like extra money so that you could play like the Jabba the Hutt quest or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing very hot. They're not. They got nothing. I mean, hopefully the game is good, but like
I don't, Ubisoft is such like a you never know really what to expect of them
because
because
you expect mediocrity at this point.
Yeah.
which is annoying because like they do have some cool. I mean, Skull and Bones should have been really cool.
right.
I mean, they were taking the literal. I was gonna say the bones. The bones from like Black Flag and then creating like a different game,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of was like meh. And maybe that has a lot to do with like how overinflated it kind of was to them. Like this is supposed to be really good,
Quadruple A.
and then it was just like what single A, double A.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I've never even like seen anybody playing it.
No.
So I don't know.
I don't know why I
even is
care. Why would I care?
And I'm one of those people that I buy pretty much any fucking game that's
You
new
have a
that comes
ton of
out.
games.
I have a ton of games. And I'll tell you what, I said, I'm not buying that shit as soon as I saw it. And really, I can't even like say, oh yeah, I just hate Ubisoft. I really don't hate
That's not
Ubisoft.
true.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't hate Ubisoft. And I actually I tend most times to enjoy Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
But it just seems like with them, there's always like what's going to be what's going to be the slip up or what's going to be the disappointment, what's going to be the controversy. I know a lot of it. It's hilarious. Ubisoft games are really well known for like this game looks great, this $70 game, and then a month later it's on like sale for half off.
Yeah.
And even if the game is great, it actually has nothing to do with the game being good or bad. Ubisoft will put games out, be like, "Yep, $70 for you day one buyers." A month later, it's like, "Buy it for $35."
And it's the same game.
Yeah, and everybody gets pissed. It's like, yeah. So now I'm hesitant to buy any Ubisoft games at launch because I just hang out and wait for like a month or two. But
I bought Republic of Riders a couple months ago.
yeah, oh yeah,
And that's pretty good.
I forgot about that game.
I was really into Steep when that was. I mean, probably like much after the launch, but I was really into Steep for a little bit, like years ago, and then Republic of Riders kind of popped up. Where's the hype for their games?
Yeah.
I didn't even know it existed, and I was like, oh, it's on sale.
Yeah. They
I'll pick it
abandoned
up.
them really fast, though. You're not wrong. Like,
Yeah.
it's all this hype, all this build-up, and then they all, even like the big ones.
It's
like,
literally the same game, though.
yeah.
It's like so much of just the same. Well, that's just Ubisoft, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm just reiterating what we already know about Ubisoft. It's just the same game.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I don't know. It's one of those things where all these games being available on all these different consoles is a good thing. And I think it'll take Sony, I mean, could be a whole other decade to come around
They're
and be
probably
like,
gonna get fucking drilled into the ground before they even decide to play ball.
even think of Sony didn't even want like cross-platform games to happen, or not cross-platform, but cross-play to happen in games. Right. So a lot of
Which
times,
is weird
it
because
is
it
very
used to
weird.
be the other way around.
yes,
Sony was like, yeah, we love crossplay, and Xbox was like, nah. And then like 10 years later, it's like the exact opposite.
it's pretty much like who has the leverage at the time is like, no, yeah.
so stupid.
Like, no, dog. But yeah, so like, I remember when Rocket League came out, Sony did not want them to have crossplay.
Yeah, that's in my head. I was like the Rocket League thing.
Yeah, so they were like, Xbox was all for it, PC was all for it. Hell, even the Nintendo Switch, you could crossplay on Rocket League, and PlayStation was like, nope. And I don't know if you can now. I haven't really tested.
You probably can.
It's been like over a decade or, close to a
I mean,
decade.
Rocket League's
but
been out for a while. I feel like they
that
figured
is crazy.
it out.
It was, I think, 2016 when all that
Stop
was.
it.
It's almost been a decade.
Wild.
Which is crazy. We're aging ourselves here, but
Wild.
it's I don't know. I don't know if Sony will ever come around to it, but I think even if just like in specific situations like Helldivers 2, if they bring that to the Xbox, it makes sense as a multiplayer only kind of game,
I'm worried that it's gonna take too long
Yeah, I could see
for
that.
them to come around.
They'll wait for the
if
game
they
to be
do,
dead.
and the game is gonna be mostly. I mean, I feel like Helldivers 2 has some staying power.
Yeah.
It is one of those games that's still in my rotation that like every week I think about it. I'm like, I kind of want to play that game. Do I play it every week? No.
Right.
But I do think about like, oh, I should probably log in. I should probably do that. It's kind of like a Destiny thing.
Yeah, collect
But-
the rewards, like
Right, because they always, you always get your
bonds.
your war bonds, and like everybody completed this thing while you were off doing, work or whatever, and you're like, oh, cool, 45 war bonds, cool. It's
out
like,
of nowhere, pretty much.
thank you, thanks guys.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Yeah, I think it has the staying power because I feel like the impact from Helldivers 2 kind of left a crater in gaming in a way that's like, I don't know, it's pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Like I notice a lot, like even among some of my friends, like they're like, I have one friend that was like, I haven't enjoyed a game for 4 years, and this game finally came out, and I was excited, and it was good. And I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, it was that much. It had that much impact.
Yeah.
That was also the friend that bought Fallout 76, like the good version of the game, and it didn't.
And
it didn't work out.
Like launch, they bought it at launch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, he had some scars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got trust issues now.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's got some trauma.
That's Fallout 76 is such a, you never know. Some people are like, oh, I only played it like this past year. It's great. And
I think it's fun. It's a fun game.
It is, yeah.
At this point, it is.
I could definitely, even like, I was coping so hard when it came out. I was like, yeah, this is not that bad till I hit like a game breaking bug. But like, I think that's another good example though of like Fallout 76 is a good example. Is if like in current day, how Bethesda is owned by Microsoft. If Fallout 76 came out and was only Xbox PC, I feel like everybody would be kind of like they are with Helldivers 2 on Xbox. They'd be like, just bring it to PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, don't let this. And honestly, Xbox, and we already all know what the decision's going to be, but they have a decision to come up on because they have Activision, right? So Microsoft bought Activision.
Right.
They could, in theory, make Call of Duty an exclusive to PC and Xbox.
They could.
Would they do that? No, because money, right?
Because it makes so much money on consoles.
Yes, and they spent so much money to acquire Activision. So, like,
Right.
Why would you not do that?
Not only does it make money on, it makes the franchise itself it's too big.
Yeah.
It's too big. It's painful.
It is, because that's how you get like the out of touch. You know what I mean? Like the store prices, the microtransactions.
Yeah, spend $80.
Yeah.
And get all these skins so that you can get a monkey fist.
And that only happens when you're so big that you don't have to listen to community feedback anymore. You don't have to.
They don't listen. They don't care about me vetoing their game and only playing it like maybe once a month.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And think about how big that makes Call of Duty, because even Fallout 76. Right. I mean, it came out in a broken state, so it's not really like an opinion thing of like they made a bad decision. I mean, they made a bad decision launching it, and how it was. But even a company as big as Bethesda had to like remember there's no NPCs in Fallout 76 at launch, and everybody's like, we hate this. Like NPCs is like the coolest part of Fallout, like all these like side stories.
Kind of messed it up.
And then so there's NPCs in there now though. Yeah. So it's like they had to go back, make the decision. If it was Call of Duty, they'd be like, nah, we don't give a fuck what you think.
We don't care. We're just gonna make another one.
Or they would say, hey, if you want NPCs, you can spend $20 per 10 NPCs. If you spend $20, it unlocks 10 different NPCs for you in the world. And if you spend 80, we'll give you all of them at this point. Like,
that's pretty much. Yeah.
So that just goes to show like how, and Bethesda's huge, so like it goes to show you how
Activision's so much bigger though.
Oh yeah, they're like at a whole other level. Like
it's disgusting, and
just like a whole other level of success. Like people don't even understand. Like that person that you're like, oh yeah, they don't play video games. They probably play Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like everybody's played Call of Duty.
Most people play Call of Duty.
It used to be, I don't know why I randomly thought of this, and this is definitely going on a side tangent. But you know what used to be that everybody's played Call of Duty? Everybody used to, and I mean, this was my childhood, so
yeah.
Everybody used to play RuneScape. It used to be everybody would go. I remember the public library was the hot spot for RuneScape. You'd go there, and half the time people didn't even play RuneScape. But everybody who played RuneScape, they'd go to the like castle thingy in Lumbridge, like the very first thing, and they'd like get virtual girlfriends. Like you be my GF. Like, yes, and it's really some 40-year-old male on the other side.
Yes. Yes. But the internet was a different place. But I mean, that kind of equates to Roblox these days. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I think Roblox is RuneScape these days.
It is, yeah. So RuneScape's just evolved. They're like, hey, now people actually play the game. They don't get virtual girlfriends. And Roblox is like, yeah, if you want a virtual GF, come over here.
Listen, I mean, people still play RuneScape. People are still really into that game.
Marty.
Yeah.
This cup right here. This is a creator friend of mine, and he still loves the hell out of RuneScape. And actually, funny enough, like 2 years ago, it would have been 2 years ago at this point, he's like, dude, you should get back into RuneScape with me. Because I still have my childhood account. He's like, you should get back into it with me. I get in there. It's an MMO, so you can play a free version, but let's be real, you can't do shit with the free version.
I played the shit out of the free version.
So yeah, back in the day it was pretty nice.
Oh, okay, so you can't do that
even
anymore?
now. You kind of can, but like once you're at a high level, there's you know what I mean. You can't do a bunch of stuff once you're at high level.
Right.
So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll get a membership. We'll start playing it again together. I bought the membership. I bought a year. Yeah, it was on sale. It was on sale.
Oh,
and
so you're using the Tarkov.
It was
it
was on sale. I bought the unheard of edition.
The unheard.
So I bought the year membership because it was during COVID too. So I wasn't like spending a bunch of money. I was kind of just sitting around the house. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on sale.
I need something to do.
You get
for
all
a
these
whole year.
Exactly. And let me tell you, you guys are gonna die this. I bought the year membership. Got all these sweet perks, got all this sweet stuff. I played the game for like 2 weeks, and I was like, yeah, this is actually a lot of fun. Like I'm getting back into it. Never logged in again. So let me make that very clear. I bought a year. I believe it was like $120 for a year, and played for about 2 weeks. Never played again. You can ask Marty about that. Never played again.
Worth it.
And then at the end of that year, I logged back in to unsubscribe to the year membership. That was a random side tangent, but yeah, everybody played RuneScape back in the day. I mean,
man.
Well, asterisk on the played, but they logged into it.
Well, okay, so if you're comfortable sharing it, I'm going to share mine.
Yeah.
My character's name in RuneScape was, it was capitalized Chipmunk Man, but it was spelled wrong. Chipmunk, instead of a U, it was an O, so it was like a monk. Chipmunk Man 0, I think.
I love that.
Maybe my name was. Man, I don't know.
Just a big chipmunk guy, huh?
Just
Huge
I
fan.
literally probably just like looked out the window and was like chipmunk, and then didn't know how to spell chipmunk apparently, and then just went with that.
So mine was I was in the Halo phase. You could tell I was in the Halo phase.
Hell yeah.
And it was like around Halo 3 when I started playing it. So my username was Recon, right? Because Recon Armor, everybody wanted Recon Armor, but it was Recon 117 because I had to.
Man.
Master Booty Cheeks over here. I had to glaze him. He had to be in there somehow too. But then the other thing was my OG Xbox Live account was Spartan 117, but I spelled Spartan wrong. So then, like, I remember one of the best moments, like getting heckled online, is during Modern Warfare 2, like the OG Modern Warfare 2, not like the 2020.
The good stuff.
I remember, so I spelled it Sparten.
Spartan.
Yeah, 117. And I was like in game chat, and then back in the day, Modern Warfare 2, everybody would say horrible things to each other, right?
They
like
still do.
Yeah, still do. Yeah, like there was like racist stuff, there was all sorts of stuff.
Have you been in a Call of Duty lobby recently?
I actually really haven't. Is it still like that?
Still bad.
Yeah, throwing slurs, everybody's hating each other.
Every game.
So I threw down a care package, and I was talking to one of my friends that was also in game chat, and I'm like, hey, I threw down a care package, and the guy's like, well, you need a Sylvan Learning Center in that care package, buddy. You can't even spell your username right. And I'm like, oh my God. Dude, I remember being so like, mad as a kid. Because, I knew he was right. I was like,
gamer rage.
And I was like, did I spell Spartan wrong? And I looked, and I'm like, oh, shit. So, yeah, getting heckled, that was a humbling moment, You grow up a little bit on Xbox Live back in the day because you just, like, meet full-grown men, and they just tear you down. And I haven't had any of those. I honestly don't use game chat anymore.
No,
which
who
is kind of
does?
sad.
I don't either. Helldivers 2 has game chat. I don't fucking use it.
Dude, yeah, so one of the first games when we got in Helldivers 2, and these guys, it was me and my friend Colton, we're in Helldivers 2, and we were using Discord. We were on Discord to chat. Yeah. He was playing on No, he wasn't playing on PC. He was playing on PlayStation. But anyways, we're in Discord. We're in Discord chatting, and these guys join our lobby, and we were waiting for two of our other friends, and we're like, oh, we'll just play these randoms, So we played the randoms, we're dropped in or whatever, we're fighting, and these guys are chatting, and they sound like our age. They're having a good time. They sound like nice guys. And I'm like, Cole, do you want to like go have a game chat and chat with these guys? He's like, the fuck no. And I was like, yeah, me neither. Meet
new people?
It's like, oh no. That's like, it's crazy though how much that aspect is changing gaming. Because I feel like I was saying, nobody uses game chat.
I'm not getting outside of my comfort zone in my Discord.
And I remember like, I remember Bad Company 2.
Oh, what a good game.
Yes, Bad Company 2 was a great game. Who made Bad Company 2 again? What's EA published it.
I don't
DICE. Well, isn't it? Is it DICE?
I don't know.
I don't know. So I think it's DICE and EA. But either way, they used to know how to make a really good shooter, and obviously Battlefield 2042 is trash. But
is it still?
I mean, it might be better
Isn't that
now.
another one of those games that just like it came out and it was like real bad, and people are like, it's kind of okay now.
It might be better now, but I remember. So when Battlefield 2042 came out, you know, I think it was $60 at the time. I don't think games have been to 70 yet. $60
I
brand
think
new.
you're right.
No surprise there, right? I remember it was so technically bad on launch. 2 weeks later, this was when I was working at GameStop. 2 weeks later, you could buy Battlefield 2042 for $14.99.
Oh my god!
2 weeks later, within the month the game dropped, you could buy it for $15.
That's fucking.
And people weren't buying it.
That's wild.
That's how I mean, you get like the average dad that have no clue, you know, what the hell was going on. Like, just like, oh yeah, this $15 game.
It's a game,
But like,
15. It's probably worth $15.
yeah, I would say, especially like nowadays, it's probably worth $15. But anyways, they used to make really good shooters, so it's kind of sad. But I remember being in the squads, because remember it's like you get in squads of 4. Even on a big team, you'd be in squads, and everybody would always chat in the squads. Like, and if you like didn't, people didn't want to be on your squad. So like as soon as you load in, be like, hey, has anybody got a mic? Like everybody's like, yeah. So, and actually, that even leads to the next kind of segment I was going to talk about is the Xbox 360 marketplace is shutting down.
So what does that mean?
July 29th, 2024.
What does that mean?
You will not be able to. It's like the eShop basically for the 3DS and the Wii U.
I'm actually kind of shocked that it's still up.
I am shocked that the Xbox 360 marketplace.
I could boot up my Xbox 360 right now and buy something.
Yep, you absolutely could. In like 90% of games are backwards compatible anyway.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it actually really doesn't have that huge of an impact.
I mean, they've Xbox, Microsoft, whatever, they've done a really good job of like maintaining that, which is really cool. I'm still kind of you're giving me knowledge right now that like I had no idea that it even was a thing because freaking Nintendo was like Wii U eShop, Nintendo 3DS gone, done.
And
We're
the
done
Wii U
with
was
that
like
stuff.
2011 or 2012.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't want to talk about the Wii U.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. Even though somebody brought up the other day PlayStation Portal, they're like, that's pretty much just the Wii U, isn't it? And I'm like,
no, what are you talking about?
I'm like, well, it wasn't it kind of remote play based Wii U?
You could kind of,
but was it like ass?
I mean, it wasn't like the main selling feature of the console.
So it wasn't like, yeah, you remote play.
This is a thing to just stream the game, like the Wii U.
This
like,
is just like a luxury, like.
Well, yeah, well, and you had like different thing on this screen, different thing on that screen. It was like a 3DS,
the map would
like,
be there,
right?
Yeah.
Or I think the Star Fox game was really fucking weird, and like you had to like look down here to do. I don't know.
It
was really goofy. Some of the implementation of it was really goofy. Mario Maker was very good.
No, that was a good example. And like honestly, it's kind of funny. You look back at how many really good Switch games, like really well-selling Switch games, were actually just ports of Wii U games.
They're just from the Wii U, yeah.
Yeah, like that's actually, I'm pretty sure it's a meme. I've seen a couple memes on Twitter about it where it's like the Switch is just like where like the good Wii U games like get their life back. You know what I mean? Like they all died on the Wii U.
But then they didn't do Wind Waker.
I know.
They didn't bring Wind Waker.
And they brought back
goofy.
What is the name of it? They brought back the OG in terms of the timeline Zelda game. What is it? Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword, yeah.
So they made Skyward Sword for the Switch, and they kept like the weird jank controls to it, which kind of devastated me. Yeah. And it honestly, like, I get if they're like, all right, let's give like the OG experience, like, boom, here it is. It's like does Nintendo not believe in quality of life? Like, it's pretty apparent everybody hated the controls of that game. And it's really, I've heard, and like I played some of it, it's not a bad game. Yeah. It's just the controls are so bad, they make it not enjoyable.
And everybody wants Wind Waker.
Yes.
Bring
us
Wind Waker.
And it came to the Wii U. That's their excuse.
That's what I mean. Like, you could just literally
just port to port.
You did the work.
Yeah.
And you made the game. You could just move it. Just move it over.
Make it a double pack. Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, $60, $70. I don't even care. I would buy it. I would absolutely buy it.
This is probably a hot take. I don't know if I care about Twilight Princess.
You weren't a Twilight Princess fan?
No, I liked Wind Waker. And it didn't have any. It didn't have anything to do with, like, I don't know. It's just maybe it was the time frame in which I was playing those games. But like, I have more nostalgia for Wind Waker. And maybe, I mean, it's a stylistic thing. A lot of people didn't like it, but like, I don't know.
I love the style of Wind Waker. To be fair,
I think it's sick.
I played
the Game Boy games too, which also had the same style.
Oh
like,
yeah, like the Hourglass,
Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah.
There's another one.
There's like a train one. Remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The train one.
I don't know.
I don't know what it's called.
Thomas, Legend of Zelda and Thomas the Train Engine. I know. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know if I think wasn't. Am I wrong? And Twilight Princess wasn't super well received.
I think so.
Or it was like kind of like a mid kind of game. I personally really enjoyed it because I think it's just like you were saying, it's the timing of it.
Yeah.
Because the Wind Waker actually was one of the first games I ever owned for my GameCube.
Well, you were really big into GameCube.
Yes, I was really big into GameCube. So the Wind Waker probably. I mean, I would prefer if they were like pick one, Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. I would pick Wind Waker for sure. I like the art style of it. It was a good change. It's just like Breath of the Wild. It's a good change up from like the norm kind of that we had, especially then because like. Yes, I get now, like, a lot of people, like, the sailing's just pretty empty and boring. It's like, yeah, but it was sweet at the time. You have to understand. At the time, it was amazing. But Twilight Princess was kind of at that point where, like, I was old enough to, like, start finishing games and, like, paying attention to the story more. And so I just really liked that game. But I think if I, especially now, you know, like, rose-tinted glasses off, go back and play both, I think Wind Waker, I would enjoy Wind Waker a lot more.
I should help you put it on your Steam Deck so
yes.
You can try it out.
Because I already own them, I can do that. I love the pause. Just I can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. That's GameCube games on the Steam Deck would be absolutely lit.
We should do that sometime.
And so that brings up a good point though, of the Xbox 360 marketplace shutting down. One, it is crazy. It is still up. You're absolutely right.
That's wild.
Because the Xbox One was 2012, I think. 2013.
When did the 360 come out?
2006.
Holy shit.
Maybe it was even the end of 2005. 2006, I know it was out. Because Halo 3 was 07 or 08.
It's like a majority of my life.
Yeah. So, like, it's been... And that's what, like, I still see people, like, upset by it. And there's always going to be people upset by something, right?
Yeah, I think it's been around long enough, though.
Yeah. And, like, now you could, like, go on the store, even if you don't have a 360, like, get on, like, the Xbox website, go buy the game that's not going to be backwards compatible anymore. Yeah. And, like, when they make it backwards compatible, which I'm sure they would, like, it'll be there. Because 90% of the games are already available. Like, most of them are backwards compatible. And actually, especially in terms of backwards compatibility, Xbox has been really good. I think it's because that's pretty much all they have at this point in terms of, like, their exclusive power.
They're good at that thing.
Yes, but they've, like, updated it. You know what I mean? They've done, like, the next-gen updates for way older games that, like, basically enabling you to have more FPS on them. But, but so, yeah, I don't think it's the same as the 3DS and the Wii U shops closing. Yeah. Because I think those games are a lot newer, one. Yeah. And two, there's no really hope that they're going to come back in terms of, like, you already own this game, you can play it now. They might come back in a port because we know Nintendo loves porting games. But it's like you'd have to spend another $60 on it or $50 on it.
They love porting games, but then they don't.
Yeah, it's like they skip generations almost with porting stuff.
Which is stupid. I think that they're basically, they sort of kind of screw themselves over because they force people into emulating their games because they want to be able to enjoy those classic games. Like, I want to play, what is it, Metroid F-Zero missions or whatever it is. It's the Game Boy Advance remake of the original, like, Metroid game. Game. I'm probably going to play it on the Steam Deck. But it's like, you can't, it's like the best way to enjoy that game. Yeah. And you can't get it. Yeah. You have to be a pirate,
which is super.
or you legitimately have the version of the game and you play it on your Game Boy Advance. Who wants to do that?
And especially with retro prices nowadays, it's probably expensive to buy. Silly. All that stuff. So no, I could absolutely see that.
But if you Nintendo, give me the ability to purchase the game on the Nintendo eShop in some way, then that basically legitimizes, like, just give us the games. Yeah. They've done a really good job with the paid service.
That's what I was about to ask you
you have to buy the
Nintendo Online.
I think I pay for it yearly. And that stuff's cool.
So here's my question. I have never bought the Nintendo Online stuff to play the, like, N64 games and
you've never played Animal Crossing?
So I'm in terms of, like, the OG, like, I never bought the service. You know what I mean? Like, to like stream those, because you stream them, right? If I'm remembering right.
No.
Like the
actual games that you emulate on, or like the retro stuff.
Yeah, like on Nintendo's online thing. Like you don't download it to the Switch, right? Like you just have that. Like
I think you download it.
I thought it was all stream based.
How much? I don't even know.
Because I remember like why when they maybe it's different now, but I remember when they first launched it, I was like, it's not for me because like I was saying earlier, like especially earlier, like when I had this apartment, I had horrible Wi-Fi, so
Yeah.
I was like, I really want to play Ocarina of Time again. That'd be sweet on the Switch, but like I don't want to stream it. But maybe I'm just completely wrong.
I don't know if it's streamed or not.
Because I was gonna say if it is stream only, that like really hinders it for a lot.
I've
of
never
people.
tried to do it off of Wi-Fi, so
And
like,
because because the Switch has a horrible Wi-Fi chip too, like
yeah.
horrendously bad Wi-Fi
When they were
chip.
and they were
so,
like, let's make stream-based games.
so like, yeah, this is a great idea.
What was it, Resident Evil or something
Yeah,
that they came
yeah.
out and it was like a stream only, or like,
There's been several like that.
what are they thinking?
I don't know
What
because
do
the
they do?
Wi-Fi chip in those, even in the OLED, is horrendous.
Well,
And
you wouldn't know because it's yours is like
it's just a toaster. It's toasted right now.
It's
I mean,
toasted.
I don't even know. It's on the charger. Nothing's happened to it. It's like 2 years old at this point. So
I want to figure it out before I leave. I want to plug it in.
we'll plug it in and it just sits there. Like, and I was like, oh, it's probably dead because I haven't touched it. Jenna's my wife's has been way more dead than mine.
Yeah.
Way more dead than mine.
Way more dead than
I
mine.
plugged it in and almost immediately I saw the battery icon come on like within a couple
Uh-oh.
minutes and I was like, gulp. I think that shit's toasted. It kind of is disappointing because I have yet to beat Tears of the Kingdom, and
Looks like you're never gonna beat it.
I mean, and I say that like with kind of a hot take kind of voice because I love Legend of Zelda games,
Yeah.
and I've never like started one and never finished it. And Tears of the Tears of the Kingdom, there's a couple I haven't played, but it's like I just never played them. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
not like I started them and fell off, but like Tears of the Kingdom, I was really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I don't know what it is about the Switch right now at this point in time. I'm just not interested in the Switch.
I think it has a lot to do with all the other toys that you have.
Yes, there's a lot better options.
A lot of other games that have come out, a lot of other things, a lot of more compelling ways to play the games.
Yeah.
The Switch was vital in revitalizing the want or need for a portable gaming device because we didn't really have those for a little bit. We had
Right.
3DS, and the PS, the Vita was dead.
And the Vita was really like it was there, but did anybody really buy
Nobody
it?
bought
No.
it.
And
I mean,
the-
some people did, but the people that did loved it. But it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
It's more like it's really loved for like the like modded version of it now, which really makes sense. Like a lot of people are like just buy Vita and mod it, which is sweet. Like it's a good idea, but
It's
like,
a cool. It's a novel
Yeah.
idea, but there are so many better options.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. That's what-
At this point,
and
even-
they're rare.
Yeah,
So like the price to buy them, you could buy one of the devices we've already talked about and like have just a fine, option or whatever. But even like where people when I talk about the Portal in my shorts, they're like, "Oh, just buy a modded Vita." And I'm like, "Okay, if I bought a pre-owned
I want to know who they're talking to.
a pre-owned Vita is going to be probably $100 to $150 more than this Portal, and I'm just using it just to remote play, guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
I want-
convenient.
I want to know who is telling these people that.
Yes, I'm telling you. Any if you ever see any of my Portal shorts pop up, read the comments.
Just buy a PS Vita.
Because people are like, I was telling Heath when we were off camera, I'm like, yeah, I really like the Portal. I get there's a lot wrong with it, and it's like overpriced, and I think like it makes sense for most people don't want it. I totally agree with that, right? I don't think it's like the right device for everybody.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, for me in my situation, it's like my exact words. I'm like, in my situation, it makes sense. Like I have a kiddo, I'm running on different rooms.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You're
and
wrong.
Yeah, people in the comments are like, no, it doesn't actually make sense for you, and I'm like.
You're stupid.
I'm like, guys, I'm talking about my personal experience. I'm
This
not
is what I like
Yeah,
to do, not
yeah.
you.
It's like saying I like the color blue. No, you don't.
No, you don't. You're wrong.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the Portal is a tough subject for people,
Yeah.
and like I said, I get most people like saying, it's not for me. I totally get that. I don't. I think it's a very odd choice they made making it. Really, I really think it is, but. I mean, I don't. It's just a luxury item. I mean, you don't really have to. They're like, it's actually $700.
You don't have to like it.
Yeah, it's like, guys, you don't have to, and everybody doesn't have to agree with you on gaming. That's like a lot of people are upset at the 360 marketplace shutting down, and we're over here like, why is it still open?
I'm like actually impressed.
And like, it's just there's no need for it, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
I think
it's. I think they've done enough to push everything forward to be able to actually just like make it a legitimate choice. Like
let it rest.
it needs to go to bed.
But do you remember Like, I know it's different because it's not like virtual marketplaces, but do you remember they made the PS2? Sony made the PS2 till like 2012 or something like that.
They made it forever, and they still they published games for it for a
long time. When PS4 games were coming out, I mean,
it was Just Dance 2020 or something like that.
Yeah, it was on PS2. Something crazy.
Something weird.
I know for a fact, like when PS4 games were still coming out,
maybe that was a Wii thing. I don't know.
You would get some PS2 games though, like you could find them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and they did that with the Wii too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why the Just Dance thing is in my head. I think there was a Just Dance game that came out in like the 2020, or like something like what the?
It's like, how is this coming?
How
out
is
on
this still
system?
coming out, man?
Yeah.
Like
that's It's those systems though. The PS2 and the Wii were completely different than every other video game console. Because think about like when the PS2 and Wii came out. Like the PS2, what was so crazy about the PS2 is the DVD player in it, and it sounds hilarious, but like it's the truth. Like that like. Why would you go spend, especially back then, everybody, like people weren't just buying subscriptions. I feel like people were a lot more money conscious back then, right? And
shit costs less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like they're like, all right, you could buy this DVD player, brand new DVD player for $100, or I'm just throwing out random numbers, or for $150, you could get this top of the line new gaming system and the DVD player, and it's barely more than just a DVD player. So of course everybody bought PS2s, right? So it wasn't even like, I mean, the PS2 was obviously one of the best consoles ever made. And some people probably think it is the best console ever made. But, like, there was a reason why so many people bought it. And it's the same thing with the Wii. I mean, it's the first, like, motion kind of gimmick stuff. Like, anybody could play it. Anybody could use it. It was backwards compatible with the GameCube, which, again, it's kind of like the Wii U situation. The GameCube didn't sell super well. So to have
which
that,
is weird.
It is very weird now that it's all aged. That the GameCube was kind of a miss.
The GameCube was really successful. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about, is the GameCube successful?
Yeah. We're sitting there as kids like, what are the sales numbers?
I just want to play Smash Bros.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that, honestly, till, like, internet culture and gaming, like reading about how the GameCube was a big miss for Nintendo in a lot of ways.
It's wild.
It is pretty wild. Like,
I got Wind Waker, but I got like the special edition that came with like the Master Collection.
Yeah,
the
no, I know
Master
exactly what you're
edition
talking
of Ocarina of Time. That was me back then. I was thinking, I don't want to play Master Edition, whatever. It's too scary. I don't want to play that. That's what I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about sales numbers.
Yeah, it is crazy how much like gaming has changed because of that fact.
I forgot that they even ported Ocarina of Time to the GameCube.
They did, and they had there was another edition. Remember that? I don't think it was a Wind Waker one, but it was another like collection disc, and it came with. Remember the game that it's like 4 links that are different colors?
Yeah, 4 swords.
4 swords. Yeah. The 4 links. 4 swords.
4 swords.
So yeah, they had that on GameCube, and there's another disc that came with it, and I can't remember if it was Majora's Mask. 'Cause I know there's Majora's Mask disc on GameCube.
Was there?
Yeah, and it's another one of those collection ones.
Why is it on the Switch?
Give us Majora. That's another one they could have brought back easily. I think that's on the online thing.
Is it on there?
I think.
Is it?
It maybe. I think I'm just making shit up.
We can't tell you because the Switch is dead.
The Switch. Honestly, though, it is time for the Switch to get a new update to get
so that you can buy a new one.
Yeah. So I can buy a new one, play it like crazy. Like to be fair, I played the Switch like crazy for a year or two.
That's fair. Maybe that's why it's dead.
And then I never touched it again. Never touched it again. But I bought my wife one, so if mine's broke, I'll just play hers.
Yeah.
And restart Tears of the Kingdom and never beat it because I always play 8 games all at once.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Nintendo, though, like back in the day, gaming, you could just enjoy games. Now, it's stuff like you were just saying.
No, you're an adult, though, now.
The sales numbers.
But also we're adults. We got stuff going on.
Yeah. And a lot of people in the gaming, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but I do know a couple creators that it's like, oh yeah, when you look at their profiles, you're like, you guys don't even play, you really play.
You don't even play games.
You don't even play games. But really, we were talking about that in one of the other episodes. Like anybody's a journalist now. Like when you look at Steam reviews, a lot of them are hilarious, and like Xbox reviews too. A lot of them are hilarious. But there's some where they're really good games, and they're like, these are trash games and all this stuff, and you're like, you must have not even played it, dog. No. Like, you're just, like, coming from, like, a console fanboy, or, you know what I mean? Like, just, like, hating the popular thing at the time. But there's a lot of people that, like, that are in this probably any industry, that, like, make content. And you're like, dude, like,
did you play the game?
You guys don't play the games. Like,
right.
And I'm not saying you have to 100% complete it, but, like.
That's why I think it's cool at the beginning of our episodes now, we're, like, talking about what games we play.
Yeah.
Because we can be completely honest. Like, that's why I, like, opened with, I didn't even touch Fallout 4.
Yeah, and that's
I
like
didn't even do it. I know that I started it, but I didn't even
yeah,
touch it.
and that's why like Stellar Blade, like I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna give you an update because I played like 4 hours.
You're not checking out the booty.
Yes, and oh my gosh, dude, I wish I would have set this up. Maybe in one of these next couple of podcasts when I'm more into Stellar Blade, we'll set this up. But remember, so one of the spicy things we talked about last episode, check out last episode, we'll get a little more in depth with it. I'll just give you a really quick recap. People were pissed at Sony again. Sony's been under fire.
Wow,
one
surprise.
completely valid reason, one not completely valid reason. But they're basically like, the anime boobies were much bigger in the previews than what's in the game. And people are like saying Sony censored it. Well, I found this Twitter thread full of like,
Before and after shots
of incel, yes, but also incels like making videos, like reacting to it and giving their thoughts. And there were some videos in there that I mean, I'd probably blur their faces out of respect to not completely like just keep spreading this, but I was just like cringing into the seat watching that. So
Twitter's good for sometimes.
it is Stellar Blade from what I've played. I'll just leave it at that because it's been a couple 4 hours. It's a great game. I don't know why people are that upset about the waifu setup because it's already pretty like provocative, I guess you'd say before. I'm like, man, if you needed more than this, there's probably another industry you're looking for.
Yeah.
Point, like dog, like I don't know. Like, let's say, that, are you playing the game or like are you pausing at the right time? What's happening? Like
climbing up ladders, you know?
Climbing up ladders, dude. Spicy. Climbing up the ladders. I remember like whenever like being a kid playing games, climbing up ladders, be like, oh, Tomb Raider. Oh, is that a female
those
in a
polygons.
video game? Yeah, it's like all rectangle. Like, is that a female in a video game? Sweet. Like, I love that this episode is just really a ton of side like rants by us. I absolutely love
We're
that.
devolving.
We are. Well, we are because like you look at what's going on, and I'm like, man, there's really not much going on, this week in terms of news and stuff. And Heath's like, we have a good enough flow where it's just gonna get into conversations. And here we are. We've talked about getting RuneScape girlfriends in our early days. We've talked about waifu boobies in Stellar Blade.
Again.
And why Sony needs free speech to bring them back, all right?
How much do you want to bet we're going to talk about waifu boobies in the next episode?
There's a good chance.
I'm going to try not to, and then we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to be here.
He'll probably be here.
I'll
guys.
probably be here. It's always going to be, I think it'd be funny to just like
keep introducing it.
Just
like
keeps like saying like, he's here, and then maybe not next time. And then like, he just keeps showing up. He's just here all the time.
Well, that's I said, I was like telling my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, Heath's going to come over for episode 3. And she's like, well, isn't Heath just going to come over for every episode? I'm like, probably, yeah.
Yeah, at this point.
We need, honestly though, I'm really excited to see where the podcast goes because soon, and you guys will see it soon. I say soon could be
soon.
Next episode. It could be in 8 episodes. We're going to start experimenting with us two still here in the studio, but then also having some virtual guests too.
That'd be sick.
And even just more people to join us and talk about waifu boobies and to talk about their girlfriends.
RuneScape girlfriends.
Yes. Did they pull any GFs?
Man.
In Lumby. GFs in Lumby.
I never pulled any GFs in Lumby.
I mean, I remember sitting there like in the.
I was too concerned about Chipmunk Man Zero. Chipmunk Man Zero isn't pulling any GFs.
He was out fighting the cows. I remember playing the game when you fight the cows in a little patch to like level up or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
my mithril scimitar.
yeah, dude, I love it. I love it.
Selling mithril skimmy.
Skimmy, and then dude, the scam artists in that game are crazy too. Like, just trade it to me, and then I'll trade you the money. It's like,
nope, he logged off.
Dude, I remember I got scammed on there, and I don't know what like set of armor it is at this point, but I remember somebody's like, dude, I can, because they used to have the trimmed ones, like where you get like adamant trim.
Like
he's
gold
like
trim.
He's like, I have and I don't even know if this was full of shit and this isn't even a real thing or what, because I was like,
he convinced you that it was
real.
Yeah,
he was like, I have a high enough smithing level where I can add a trim to your adamant armor. And I'm like, dude, fuck yeah. And I trade the stuff to this guy. He took the armor. He logged out immediately after he got that trade. So if you're watching out here, honestly, the biggest lesson today is if some guy comes up to you in Lumbridge and RuneScape and especially if he has a GF, then especially don't trust him. If he tries to tell you anything. Don't trade him anything. All right, guys. Don't.
Yeah.
For all 8 people still playing RuneScape, do not trade him. Marty, do not trade
Don't
him.
trade him, man.
Do not trade him the armor.
The adamantine freaking cup.
All right, it's been a spicy one. Heath, do you have anything else you want to cover before we dive off?
I think we should. I hope that Helldivers stuff settles over.
Goes well. Yeah.
I hope things end well for all the gamers.
Yeah. Next week we'll probably have an update.
We'll probably know at that point.
Yeah. By next week.
I'm
next
shocked
episode,
that it hasn't been resolved already, but
I know.
We'll see.
And even like last episode when we were filming, the Tarkov stuff kind of got reversed as we were filming it, and it's like, dude, like you guys were filming it.
Podcasts are hard, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is fast. It is crazy how fast these companies like backtrack in record time, though.
They need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising because it's like, yeah, it's surprising you even did this dumb shit to begin with. But it's like, yeah, no, it's like I don't know. But basically, you can't get away with anything these days on the internet. So
no, we'll find you.
Yes, publishers.
We'll find you, and we'll talk about you on this podcast, and we'll flame you.
Yes, absolutely. And
it won't be a hot take. It'll just be we're burning you.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely love it. But all right, everybody, thank you, especially if you made it to the end. Thank you for listening today. We'll give you an update on the spiciest takes next week.
Maybe I'll be here.
Yeah, to be continued. Yeah, we're gonna. Hey, Heath's gonna be the guest. All right, guys. He's gonna be here, and we're gonna talk about Helldivers 2. We're gonna talk about any other spicy stuff that's coming up.
Watch next week. I won't be here.
And it's some guy. It's gonna be some random person that's like dressed like Heath, but not Heath. I'm like, it's Heath.
It's just a guy wearing a t-shirt,
Wah.
Star Wars t-shirt. Like, hi.
It's like the Wario voice. Wah. This is Heath. Isn't that right, Heath?
Yeah, it's me.
The guy's like asleep in the chair next to me. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Let us know down below, what is your hottest gaming take, baby?
Yeah.
Deuces.
Yeah.